for soldering wires. Soldering, of course, is in my opinion, is the best way to connect wires. The ideal way, though, is to solder. I'll show you how easy this is to do with just a tiny handful of tools, and I'll show you. Let's go into the kit right now. There's really just a few things you need in your kit, and just get yourself a soldering gun. You want some rosin paste flux. You want a little brush and some rosin core solder. And this right here, this stuff's amazing. This is a 3M silicone dielectric grease type of thing that we'll use, as well as, a good selection of shrink tubing. Get a couple of these alligator clips. Take 2 alligator clips and clamp them in your vise like this. Okay, so for joining the wire, there's a couple different ways of doing it, but what I have found to be the best is you fray the ends of the wire like this. You kind of splay them out like this, and join them so they intermingle, kind of mesh like fingers together. Pinch one side like this here and start bringing everything together, and then twist. Twist this side here, and then twist this side over here like that. Now we can clamp it into our jaws and get everything ready for the solder. I don't think I mentioned you want a damp sponge too. Now with everything ready, you're going to take your rosin flux, right, and we're going to apply that on there like that. So just coat that on there, and that's going to help that solder to bond. And then we're going to get our soldering iron and untangle the cord that hooks on everything. Okay, so this shouldn't take long to heat up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there like that, just until that flux starts to melt in, that rosin, and it starts to melt down inside the wires there, right? There we go. Now it's sucking in there, just like that. So take it for what it's worth. Now we want to waterproof this. This is where we're going to use the 3M silicone paste, and we'll just put a little bit of that on there, like that. And then now we're going to do our shrink tubing. Now I'm going to use a piece of clear shrink tubing just so you can kind of see what's going on and what a great connection that this is. So what we can do here is, once we have that grease on there, now we'll thread our shrink tubing on here like this, and try to be careful is to hold that, not to scrape all that silicone grease off there. And just place it like that. Now your shrink tape's going to shrink on the ends about 10%. Now you can use I'm going to use a heat gun. You don't have to use a heat gun. You can use a lighter. You can use a torch. Start from the middle. You're going to start from the very middle, and you'll see that that's starting to shrink right there. And then work to the outside edges. And you'll see, I think you can see, you'll see that silicone making that seal as the shrink tape tightens around the connection. You can clean that silicone off there, and you have a really good, as good as you're going to get, a waterproof connection for joining 2 wires together. That's probably going to be tougher than the wire itself.